first off, from the first moment I ever stepped foot in Taiwan, which was around 2 years ago, I completely fell in love with the place. And I'm sure a lot of people in here can agree. It's such an amazing place to live. I've lived in Japan and a bunch of countries in Europe. I've lived in Cambodia, but nowhere is like Taiwan, and especially Taipei. So I landed here. I stayed for 2 days on a business trip, and then 3 months later, I moved here, as you do. And a lot of people ask me because, as they mentioned, I'm a journalist. None of my clients or the jobs that I do are in Taipei or Taiwan in general. I don't work here. So a lot of people ask me why I moved here, why I love it so much. And, you know, the typical answers about Taiwan is the food's amazing, it's convenient, it's, you know, the quality of living is really high for the price that you pay. It's an easy place to live. And while all these things are true, the reason I moved here is because Taipei, to me, is not a city, it's a community. So you meet so many amazing people so easily. Like, everybody's in this community. You meet people so easily, like-minded people, people you can get along with so easily and learn so much from. I mean, I come from a little village in Greece where literally nothing ever changes. Like, I'll leave for 10 years, go back, and it's like the same guy sitting in that same chair. So coming here, meeting so many different people, so many interesting people, just brought out the most social side of me. I've always been a social person. I've got along with people. I've been okay, but here it just made me my most social self. I was meeting all these great people. I was becoming more social myself, learning, growing, you know, self-development. This also helped my career, so I started traveling a lot more. I feel that the confidence that I gained here with all these new friends, more friends than I'd ever made anywhere else, I made them in Taipei in like a few months. I feel this gave me confidence in my career. I was flying all around. I mean, it's been a great year and a half since I moved here. And in all this fun and all this excitement, I did not notice this growing problem. Like, it's a really serious problem, and it was growing, and I never seen it. I was so positive about the whole thing, about Taiwan, Taipei, all my friends, all my connections. I didn't see this problem growing. And this is a problem of excessive social drinking, and this is what I'm going to be talking about. Now, immediately all of you might argue and say, you're not an alcoholic, it's not a problem. Alcoholism is a problem. And yes, alcoholism kills millions of people a year. I mean, statistics show that over 6% of global deaths are related to alcohol, be it drunk driving or excessive drinking disorders. But I will argue that social drinking is just as bad. Because alcoholism you can see. It comes, people around you see it, you suffer from it, your family, your friends will see it. Who can see excessive social drinking? Only you. Nobody else will see that. I might not do as well with one of my clients, and they'll be like, George is slacking a little bit. My friend might be like, wow, George is out every night this week. What's going on? But I'm the only one that can see that this is a problem. And it's a problem that continues, and it nudges, and it goes, and it eats away at you. And denial and justifications are the two best friends of social drinking. But it's my friend's going away party, but I've got an event tomorrow. Okay, I'll drink for 5 days this week and not do it. I'll have a salad for lunch, even though I was out till 6 a.m. yesterday, and that makes it all better. Justifications and denial continue to help social drinking become a bigger and bigger problem to you. For me personally, like in the first 6 months I was here, I was drinking Monday to Sunday. You know, I wasn't an alcoholic. I didn't have to sit at home and have a drink, but I was drinking every single day, continuing. I've got a high tolerance to alcohol. I'm a drinks writer. I do events, whiskey events, all that. So I have a good tolerance, and I'll be drinking every single day. How was it affecting me? My energy levels every day were down. I was a bit grumpy. You don't have the same energy to put into, you know, self-development, your career, everything else. My mental state wasn't great. I was a bit negative. I wasn't that positive. I wasn't exercising as much as I used to before. I wasn't eating as healthy. I mean, the last thing you want when you're like hungover is a healthy meal. And just my work as well. So I'm a freelancer. So if I don't put in the effort, no one else is. So I see my job and my career, I was slowly getting affected by this. My job, health, everything. So there was a problem, and it is a problem, and I've seen a lot of people around me suffering from this same problem, but we didn't talk about it. You know, your friends, you don't really talk about these things. But the very first step for me to fixing this problem was realization that it is a problem. So I could ask every single one of you in this room to stop and just take a look at yourselves. Do you have this problem? Do you not? Maybe some of you don't drink at all. Some of you drink too much. You just need to look at yourself. And that's what I had to do. I remember a real point where I realized that this was a problem is one of my friends said to me, that one of their friends was going to come visit Taipei, and what's fun to do in the city, she doesn't drink alcohol. And he's like, what should we do? And I was like, you don't drink. I don't really know, hiking. I couldn't give them recommendations because the only thing I was doing here in Taipei is going out with all these new friends, drinking, eating, drinking, eating. So the very first step is just taking a look at yourself and seeing if this is actually a problem for you. If this is something you're doing too much. I mean, the recognized limit of not drinking too much is drinking like 10 glasses of wine a week between 2 sessions or something like that. So if you're going far beyond that, if you see yourself getting affected by this and your career, your health, and everything I mentioned, then maybe it's a problem, and that's the first step. What I did after that was labeling it. So labeling is a very simple process of just giving it a name, because all this denial and justifications, if you give it a name and it's like something you're holding right here, for me, it was like an addiction to social drinking. When you've given it a name, then you know it's a problem, and you just can't avoid it as easily as you were before. You're going out today, well, let's see what's going to happen with my addiction to social drinking. Is it going to play up? Should I go out tonight? Is this going to happen again? You've given it a name. It's a thing in your hand. It's an object that you can look at carefully. And that takes me to the next step, which is, why am I doing this? Why do I have this addiction to social drinking? Why am I developing this more and more? When I go out, is it this action? Like, do I need to stand there with my friends and just keep doing this? Do I need the alcohol? Could, in the space of 2-3 hours being out, could I drink 2 drinks instead of 5 or 6? So it's looking deep into it. Do I need to do this for work? So I know that some cultures here in Asia, you need to drink for work. And that's one of the worst ones because you can't avoid it that easily. But looking at why exactly this problem is happening and really delving into it, now that you've given it a name, that made all the difference for me and made me like bring it back and look at it and try to find that balance again. And then the third step for me was a trial period. So I didn't want to go too far. I didn't want to be one of those people that's like, okay, I'm done. I'm cutting it all out of my life. I'm never drinking again. It's over. I didn't want to put those restrictions on myself. So I gave myself a trial period. I was like, for these few weeks, I'm only going to go out once. For a month, I'm only gonna, I'm gonna try limit it to 3-4 times of going out and having a good drink with my friends and doing all this. The other nights, I won't drink as much. I'll take it easy. And I felt this trial period was key because when you do it, and you do it for 3 weeks and a month, you realize it's not that hard. Something that I was thinking, I used to think of myself as like, I've got strong willpower, I control myself, and I was seeing myself doing this all the time, being like, why do I keep failing? But after a month of slowing it down, you realize it's not that hard. It's just a few thoughts that you need to change, a few steps you need to take, and that trial period really helped that. Now, another step for me, which is probably the hardest one, but you don't need to do anything. You just need to sit back and you observe, because all these people, all these friends that you've met, when you stop going out and being self-destructive with them, they'll fall away. And you don't need to do anything because these changes you're making, the trial period, pulling back, when they see that, they'll kind of fall away. When they're like, George is no longer the guy that's coming out with us every night and getting drunk and being our partner in crime, they'll fall away. And your real friends will remain. And you'll see that. You'll see that so clearly. It's like, it's a visual of just like everybody falling away, and there in the middle are the real friends that will stay with you. And then, in these people, you can talk to them about this issue. And at the beginning, sure, any friend will be like, oh, man, come on, you're fine. But if you actually sit down and tell them, this is an issue for me, personally, I need to work on this, and these are your real friends, they will listen, they will help, they will be there for you. So in this step, all you need to do is sit back and watch, and you'll see this happen, and it'll be hard to accept, because you'll think you've made these great friendships within this social circle, but, you just have to accept that that's not real. And then it's just turning this all back into a lifestyle. You just go, you take the steps back, you go back to who you were, in control, and you keep that balance. I'm not telling anybody here to cut everything out of their life. Balance is key. I love alcohol. I mean, I write about it. I love a good craft beer, a good whiskey. It's a great, colorful world. I love it, but you can do it far too much. And yeah, in closing, I just want to say that during this whole thing, you're going to fail. You will fail numerous times. Like I did it. I kept being like, tonight's the night, I'm not doing it. Come 3 a.m., I've failed, I've drank too much, I've done it five days this week instead of 2 that I told myself, you're going to fail. But again, this all just comes back to all the people that love you, your family, these real friends that are there for you, because you'll know that if you broke yesterday and you break today, they're going to be there for you tomorrow. And that, even that little thought on the night when you failed and you've just not done what you thought you could do and not what you believe in yourself and what you could do, this is going to help you just continue strong and keep going. So I really hope that no one in here is going through something like this, but I think a lot of people around the world are. And if this talk helps you even a little in identifying the problem and taking some steps towards fixing it, then I'm really happy with what I've talked about.